kind of, all my stuff is kind of in the way.
No. Start your microphone. All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are about to start phase one, or part one, of this incredible Happy Christmas File Folder Folio 2021. Cindy is here today. Cindy, say
Good morning.
Cindy is here.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? She asked. Yes, we are ready. We cannot wait. Look at this awesome folio that you guys are going to make today. Cindy's going to describe what we're all going to do in part one today, and then let you know about part two, which is going to be next Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. And look at all this yummy, fun stuff. And what she's using is the Happy Christmas from Cartabella. We can't be more excited about that line. Just love it. And there are still, 4 kits left. The kits are $34. So if you decide you want to partake in this class, we do have the kits available. And there's 4 left. And if you can't watch today, the class is 9 a.m. to noon. And then next Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon. And if you can't watch it today, you can watch it again later. You can watch it as many times as you want. That's not a problem. We have a lot of people jumping on this morning.
Already?
I know.
Wow.
Nice and early on a Saturday morning. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. Well, so you get to craft in the mornings, and then we got football in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, and it's, at least in Iowa, it is a gorgeous day.
It is awesome.
So yeah, this is as close as I got. I was ready to wear a red turtleneck, Christmas, and all. I went.
Not today.
No, not today.
Even I'm not wearing my cuddle duds today.
See, that would be me. That's what I'm about.
See, I'm not the only one.
Exactly.
Well, Cindy, are you ready?
I am ready again.
Right. So we're going to have Cindy show us everything, and then when she's ready to go, I am going to hook the camera up to the stand here, and we'll let Cindy do her thing. But I guess let's go ahead and have you show your folio today for us.
Oh, sure. Just a brief walkthrough. This is just like a Christmas folio. You could make this obviously for using any papers for any holidays, that type of thing. But I thought you could make it say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, my family, whatever. Little slot. Some of these, like this particular piece of ephemera, actually is one of the stickers, and I'm going to show you how to make it so it's not sticky. The same with this one. This is actually one of the stickers that we're going to show you how to make it not sticky. Has a little
Turn your
charm on it.
stickers into ephemera.
Yep. Just something else. Stickles, got to make it glittery on Katie's tree. I had to do that, because for me, it's not a Christmas project if there's not glitter involved.
Not some sparkle.
But I don't know if you can get the angle and you can kind of see it, but I've used actual,
There we go.
kind of a mercury glass and then the diamond stickles.
Fun.
But whatever you want it to be. And then we're gonna open it up. We've got tags and pockets galore. We've got a long tag that's the entire length of this file folder that's double-sided. We've got other tags and these are all scraps after we've cut the different pieces that you can use, and I'll show you how to make your own tag template.
And do you want to show them what the base of this whole project is?
The base of the whole project is one of these.
This is crazy.
And it actually comes this way.
Okay.
So we're going to open it up and we're going to fold it inside out to start. So we have our tab on the front.
Side. Cool.
Okay, so this is actually what we're going to use. And then there's 3 envelopes, 3 black envelopes. There's one with a magnetic closure right here. These are just a couple of the 3x4 cut-aparts. I love that sound.
Yeah, me too. What is it about that? The magnet click?
I love it. And then I've used a lot of the cut-apart sheets, some of the 4x6, again with more glitter, just another little card. This is one of the Tim Holtz trees, woodland, I'm trying to think what the name of it is.
It is right here.
That's it.
And it is Woodlands.
And it's the larger one
And
that's
there is
cut out
one of them in their kit.
in here. And then this is the an A9 or the larger envelope, a larger envelope. And then in here are a couple tags. And then we're going to show you how to make this pocket itself. Again, another tag. We're going to show you how to make a little notebook with
So stinking
paper.
cute.
When we cut our dyed paper, we're going to show you what to do with the rest. And you can make that. This flips up. Here's the smaller one of the trees. So if you don't have 2 trees, that's fine. You can put something else here. Don't worry about it. It's supposed to be fun. Don't stress about it.
Well, and you're supposed to get your stash out.
Absolutely.
Get your Christmas stash out to make this album.
Absolutely.
What's wrong with my throat?
Use what you've got, and freeform cut a tree. It's fine. And you're going to see where I actually use the negative space of one of these trees to do ephemera. Okay. And then here's on the other pocket, another little thing. This is pieces off of, and then you've got the signature. And on the second, next week, I'm going to show you how to put together the signature and how to sew it in to this. Oh, I forgot about this. One last pocket. and then another tag.
You've got pockets
Tags.
and tucks and folds
Tags,
everywhere.
flip folds, tags, and then like I said, we're gonna go through. Here's another one here that I've just used a 3x4 cut out for. We're gonna kind of show you how to do banner snippets. I've just used different my Christmas stamps that I've got. This is the negative space that I was telling you about of one of those Tim Holtz trees. They kind of look like a tree.
Absolutely.
So I put it on a piece of brown or a piece of craft cardstock, cut it, put some stickles on it, and just had some fun with it. Here's one of the 4x4s, made it a corner tuck, and we're going to then show you how to make this expandable pocket. So it's got a little
I think
expanders.
that's so cool.
So
I
easy.
Love that.
When I show you how to do it, you're going to go, oh my gosh, so easy. Why didn't I do this before? And just other thing, we'll go, here's another one of those banners. We'll go through paper clips. We'll go through, here's another paper clip, and this one has actually a pocket.
And you have a hidden pocket, like this. No, where's your other hidden pocket? There it is, right there.
The envelope, yeah. There's a little
that's
pocket.
Adorable. She's going to show how to make that too.
And that's just what I call that's the single-sided paper clip, and then the other is the double-sided. So
Adorable.
you've got, and then just again, this is actually a sticker, and I made it not sticky except for the bottom, and you just hold, and so that's kind of what we're gonna do.
That's wonderful.
So, first thing we're going
if you're
to do.
ready to get started,
You
I'll
bet.
go ahead and get the camera mounted here.
Okay, just let you, all you all that are watching, go ahead and start gathering your supplies, because we're going to dye paper first. So you should have gotten what I need to have you do. If you've got a piece of just something to cover your workspace with, this also makes it easier to pick up your papers and move them out of the way, because you've got to leave them set for them to dry. So I just have a lovely memory bound bag, and I have many of these at home. Imagine that. And then I just take a piece of parchment paper. This is just parchment paper. I've tried waxed paper. It doesn't work as well. There's something about that waxy surface, even if you flip it over. I prefer either parchment paper. Sometimes, I just started doing this. Sometimes I just use this. So whatever it is, another thing you could use that I have tried is that butcher paper, where it's the flat on one side and the wax on the back. Just make sure it's the flat side that's up. So we're going to do this, and what we're going to do is we're going to dye paper. And you got 6 sheets of paper in your kit. And the color we're going to work with today is Gathered Twigs, which is the color that I dyed this paper with. This was white copy paper, and it dyed like this. So I know people go, what? So, but if you don't have Gathered Twigs, you can use whatever your favorite brown is. I just happen to like Gathered Twigs for this project. but I was toying between gathered twigs and ground espresso. So if you have ground espresso, if you like walnut stain, use that. If you like vintage photo, use that. Whatever your brown preference is, it's okay. It's whatever you like, and that's kind of the whole point. So we're going to start dyeing paper, and once we get the brown dyed, I'm going to give you a little recipe on a couple other different colors that you can use. So go ahead and get your papers, your white paper out that you received in your kit. And really, dyeing paper is so much fun, and it's so easy. You're going to take your foam brush and make sure it's wet. Make sure it's damp, because if it's dry, it's going to soak up all the water and all the dye that you've mixed together to begin with. So go ahead and make that wet. And you're going to take your gathered twigs. That's your re-inker, and unscrew the lid, squeeze the top, fill the vial, just like that. And what we're going to use is for this project, we're just going to take that vial and drop, and we're going to just go bloop, and do the whole thing right in that bowl. And I have just a glass, like a custard cup type thing. You can use whatever bowl you want. It doesn't have to be glass. It can be plastic. It can be metal, whatever. Okay, just something to mix this up in. So there's a whole vial of gathered twigs in here. And then we're going to take some water. And I think I've told you, I don't measure, but for you all, I did measure out. I think it's about 1/3 of a cup. 1/3 to a half. Once you start dyeing paper like this, you're going to find that you get a feel for how much water you need, what the coloring looks like of your favorite dyes or whatever. So, but you're just going to pour it in. You're just going to pour it in. And yep, that looks about good. So you're just going to pour it in, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, that looks so dark. Breathe. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay? And then just take your foam brush and kind of stir it, kind of smoosh it in and kind of stir it around. Your foam brush doesn't need to be this wide. It can be one of the narrow ones. It can be one of the wider ones. Again, it doesn't matter. Okay? And then you're going to take a piece of paper and put it on your parchment or whatever you have that's covering your work surface. And you're just going to paint. Just like this. And yes, it will get on your fingers. And I make a mess like a 3-year-old. So, and then you're going to flip it over. And don't worry about if you get little wrinkles in it. It's okay. And you're just going to paint off the sides, off the top, off the bottom. Now, you're not going to move this once this is done. You're going to take another piece of paper, and you're going to put it right on top. And you're going, what? As the paper dries, it will release. It will release. Trust me. Trust me. Okay, now it's kind of sticking. That's okay. Just pick it up, flip it over, dunk your brush in, and all these pieces that you see, and you can see texture, will give you spots of texture on your paper. And you just keep brushing over until all of your paper is done. Okay. And flip it over. Yep, I just did it at a diagonal because I don't care. And don't care. It's fine. And just brush. And no, and I don't know if any of you might be asking. And see how this is beading up on the parchment paper? Actually, when that dries, save that. Don't throw the parchment paper away, because you can use that in your books. And no, I'm not squeezing. If the ink puddles, all the better. Now, it's going to look darker when it's wet than it does when it dries. Okay, so we're just flipping this over. Now, what I'm going to do, we've got a couple more sheets of paper, and what I'm going to do as I'm getting into here is I brought a doily with me. If you work on something like a doily, don't try to flip it. and go very gently. And sometimes I'll do this to release more of the ink. Don't try to flip it over like we did the other paper. See, it already kind of tore a little bit, and it's creasing. That's fine. That's going to create wonderful texture. But just leave it. I'm also going to do the same thing with a piece of graph paper. Doesn't have to be copy paper, guys. It can be lined filler paper, notebook paper. It can be graph paper. Now, this is fairly thin graph paper. You can really see through it. I'm not going to try to flip that either. And now I'm going to do a piece of ledger paper. It's already green. I just want to see what this looks like when it dries, because I've not done it before. So this is going to be kind of cool. I can't wait.
You're experimenting. I
Yes,
love it.
yeah. I mean, so this,
Right on live camera.
Yep, it's supposed to be fun. So put another piece on top. Let's scoot this over. There we go. Again, don't fret about the creases. Don't fret about getting it straight. Don't fret about, oh, it's not lining up. No, 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 no. It's not supposed to. Look at that. If I could,
Oh my God.
I don't even know what that would look like.
I
Dried.
just leave that. I love it.
I may do that on the last piece because it's pulling texture up from the bottom. Now, once your paper's dry, and we'll have, it should take, depending on where you're at and the humidity level of where you're at, it could take anywhere from 24, 48 hours to dry. And as they dry, you'll see them kind of peel away. Just gently, just kind of lift them apart. And you can separate them out to dry. But by next week, they'll be actually by, yeah, I'm just going to leave that. I'm really curious
I like
now.
that a lot.
I am so curious. I am so curious. So I've got leftover ink. So you know what? I'm glad I brought this extra. Whoops. Oop, and I'm probably out of frame. But we're just going to kind of, and see how it's kind of wrinkling here? When that dries, it's going to give wrinkles. Now, I've not done it, but if you're one that doesn't like the texture and you'd rather have the smoother type paper finish, I've been told you can iron the paper. Be very, very careful if you do this. I've not done it. I know from my quilting and sewing experience that if you want to iron paper, make sure it's on a low setting, dry, no steam. And it might even be beneficial to put something over the top of it, maybe another, like a pressing cloth or something along that line. And then press, and don't iron back and forth. There's a difference between pressing and ironing. Pressing is an up and down motion. Ironing is a back and forth motion. Again, from my quilting. That's what you need. So make sure you press and just watch your paper and don't hold it too long, and just keep it moving. Make sure you do not scorch or burn your paper. We don't need any fire hazards. There's enough fire situations happening as we have it right now. So they've got a little bit extra. I'm just kind of dabbing it kind of all over. And yeah, so that is how you dye paper. You can use any color. You can use all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm going to give this to Dawn, and she can just set it aside and watch that. Now, a couple other colors that I'm going to tell you that are in the folio that I did. One is this. This is actually barn door. This is 5 drops of, and I actually measured it out. So it's 5 drops of barn door in 1/3 cup of water. And then this green is actually in 1/3 cup of water. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. I lied. That's 10 drops. It's 10 drops of barn door in 1/3 cup of water. This green is 5 drops of forest moss, distress ink, re-inker, and 5 drops of rustic wilderness in 1/3 cup of water. And I got this color.
Beautiful.
because I just didn't find the color that I wanted. So I made my own. So that's kind of the beauty of that. So now that we've got the dyed paper out of the way, and I can clean up my 3-year-old mess, because as I said, I don't need. I'm awful. My 3-year-old granddaughter and I, we have a time together when we are. She's a craft. She loves to craft, and she loves Grandma's fancy scissors. So, oh yeah, she's. I think I've got one converted already. So,
Gotta start 'em young.
Yes, ma'am. So now what we're going to do, we're going to set, as you set those papers aside, now what we're going to do is we're going to work with our file folder. I want you to take out your black file folder, and as I said, when you got it, it came and it looked like this. Okay, so the tab was off the right-hand side. We want the tab on the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, and we're going to fold it inside out. So you'll see where it says, Smeed on it and all that type of thing. Don't worry about that, because we're going to cover all this up. So don't worry about it. It's fine. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take your file folder, and we are going to fold it in half. And basically, we're just going to take the inside, and you see where the inside has of the file folder, and we're going to take it and we're going to fold it in half. Now you're going to see it doesn't quite line up. Don't worry. I'll take my bone folder and just really crease it out, and you will see me creasing and creasing and creasing every time I do something. I flip things over because I really want a really good crease on this. Okay, we'll worry about. Oh, somebody used glitter. I was like, I had glitter. I was like, yes.
Sorry,
Okay,
Cindy.
no, it's all good.
Try some glitter on the craft mat.
No, yep, and that's fine. So if you see pieces that are sticking out like that, all you need to do is you just need to take your scissors and ever so carefully along the outside, just trim it off. It's not a big deal. It's okay. I'll close it back up. Yep, perfect. Okay, we're good. See, it's not a problem. I have my little handicrafty little thing that I sit on my desk, so you'll see I have a lot of stuff that I use right handy. So now you'll notice, since this is a half cut folder, if you use a third cut folder for this or other projects, you've got obviously the tab comes over only a third of the way, and then you've got the center tab and then a right hand tab. This step that I'm going to show you, you do not need to do if you use third cut folders, because you would fold this in half and you would see that it would be fine. But or you could use this half too, or if you wanted pink on the outside, but you wouldn't need to do this step. But for this one, when you fold this over, you're going to see that it folds over on itself. We want to get rid of that. And you may notice I cheated. I took a pencil, and use a pencil. Nobody's going to see it. It's fine. And we're going to kind of draw out a little kind of swoop or a little divot on the inside, pardon me again, of that tab. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut.
Good job.
Perfect. There you go. And if it doesn't look exactly like mine, that's okay. It's fine. No worries. So now we've got that cut up. Now we got that cut out. So the next thing we're going to do is, after we've trimmed this, and I am a distresser. I ink, I distress, I do everything. I'm going to take my folder, and you're going to say, well, it's black. Why are you distressed? Well, it's going to cover a multitude of sins, and you might not think that it shows. And I'm using gathered twigs, and I'm just distressing the edges. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to try to do this real quick because you all really don't need to watch me distress. And see, this is the side that's going to show. So if it's the side, I try to do the side that's going to show. So So that's that. And there's that. And so you'll see me distressing, the papers as we do it, as we cut paper and get those all done. If some of you have worked ahead and have your papers cut already, you can be, distressing. Again, I distressed. You don't need to distress if that's not your thing. Okay? Maybe a project, and there are times that I don't necessarily distress everything. If it just doesn't feel right that it's distressed, then I'm not going to do it. So it's, like I said, it's not a big deal. So even though this is a black folder, hopefully you can see how that brown is distressed. And it doesn't really look brown, it just looks distressed. Okay, so that's the file folder. I'm going to put that aside now, because what we're going to do now is we're going to cut papers for the folio. So we're going to cut the papers and then we'll start a little bit of the construction. So in your kit, you received a cutting guide, and it probably looks like that. Okay, because we're using the black half-cut folders for the first part of these file folders cuts, it says if using a black half-tab file folder, these are the dimensions that you're going to use. If it didn't change, it says the same. These dimensions are if you're using like third cut folders, because there is just a hair of a size difference in them. So we're going to start cutting with using this description. We're going to start cutting the paper. So what I want for you to do is put your black file folder to the side and grab your paper pack. And what we're going to do first is I'm going to sorry about the silence, guys. I'm just trying to get things a little bit organized. I'm used to this huge table at home, and I'm just a little. Maggie's standing here and she's giggling. I think she's feeling my pain.
I told you that this morning.
Yes, ma'am, you certainly did. And so we're going to get the paper pack out. And what we're going to do first is we're going to use number 140002, which is, and I have cheated a little bit ahead of time, and I have got some of these cut already. However, here is the 140002. And from that, you are going to cut a front and back cover. And you are going to, and then the piece that you have left over, I went ahead and trimmed all my branding strips off the end of the ones that I use. And I hang on to these because I can use some of these I can use this Happy Christmas. I can use that in ephemera. I can use, these little pieces that they show what the opposite side of the paper is. So go ahead, if you'd like, cut that branding strip off. And then I want you to cut the front cover, the folio front cover. I want you to cut it at 5/8 of an inch. So you're going to cut vertically 5/8 of an inch over. And then you're going to turn it and you're going to cut it 8 3/4 inch long. And that's what the front cover is going to be. Now you see I've got sticky notes. I put sticky notes on my pieces when I've cut them because I don't want to assume that if it's empty, I'm going to remember, if there's nothing on it, that I'm going to remember what it is. And I want to be sure that I don't use this for tags and then go, oh, well, where's my front cover piece? So I have little sticky notes that sit right here in my little tray, and I write on them what they are. So this is the front cover, which is 5 3/4 long, or excuse me, 8 8 3/4 long by 5 5/8 wide. And then the back cover, which is 8 7/8 inches long by 5 5/8 wide. So I'll just kind of put this, let's see if I can put it side by side. Is that, anyway. So they'll be like this, and they'll be like that, and this is 12 inches across. So that's a little bit of what your page may look like. All right? So there's, actually, it's going to be more like that. So that's how you kind of get it from your 12 by 12. So you're going to keep this for your tag. And then, but sticky notes, they will be your best friend when you go to do this. And then I paper clip all those together. All right, so then the next one we're going to use, I want you to pull out the number 140004. This is going to be, hang on, I apologize. I've got a few things that are, there's 11. I had these all in order and then I took them out of order. And 14005, 14004. Pardon me. And this is what happens. I think I'm organized, and then something happens, and it doesn't work quite what I want. Okay, that's what I need. All right. Okay, so on 14, excuse me, goodness gracious, 14004, we're going to cut a 5 5/8 by 8 5/8 piece. That is for the cover for the A9 block envelope. And we're going to cut a piece that is 8 3/4 long by 4 inches wide, and this is going to be the large tag for the pocket that's in the front. Okay, so this is the envelope, this is the piece, and we're going to use the red side. Okay, so that's what we're going to use for the envelope. Here's the large tag right here, and then this piece that we're going to cut that we've got left over is just, it's a tag that we're going to use for the back for the A2 envelope, which will be here. And we'll measure that down and cut that out. So those are the 3 pieces that you want from the number that's 140004. Go ahead and mark those and put them aside. Go ahead and clip them together. Put your little sticky notes on them, and we're going to put that aside. And then the inside front cover. The inside front cover is going to be, you're going to use the 140005 paper. And on one side it's going to have all these, look like chalkboard, they're framed in, brown wood, that type of thing. This is the piece that we're actually going to cut into, because this is the inside front cover right here. Yep, right there. Okay, so what you're going to do is I want you to cut 5, this is going to be the top edge. So 5 inches down, I want you to cut all the way across, all 12 inches. I want you to cut off a 5-inch piece. Okay, so it's going to be 5 inches up and down, 5 inches in length, and then you're going to cut it 5 5/8 inches across. And what I did is, this is the, if you flip it over and use it on the side, this happens to be the 'tis the season side that we're going to use, that we're not going to cut these apart for. So that is the inside front cover from 140005. Okay, 140005. 0006. This is, I'm looking, I'm just sure that this is the one. Inside 14006 and signature cover. Yep, okay. So this is one that I really need for you to cut in a certain order. All right, I've got my trimmer here. I'm left-handed, so my trimmers are always backwards. So for those of you who are right-handed, just work with me, okay? So here's my trimmer. Because our signature piece is going to be 10 1/8 inches by 5 5/8, but we're going to use the green part to cover the inside tab cover right here. We need a 12-inch long piece, and this it doesn't necessarily have to be, you need to be careful when you're working with directional paper, because here it is. Here's a piece of 12 by 12, just like this. All right, what I need to have you do is I need to have you cut a 2-inch wide strip. So a 2-inch wide strip from this 12 by 12 piece of cardstock. Okay, and the green side is what you're going to use for the top inside flap. So cut that off first. So now you have and set that aside. So now now you're going to have the piece that's left over. So then what I want you to do is I want you to turn this. This is the side you cut it off from. I want you to take this and turn it 90 degrees. So now you've got 12 inches across the bottom. Here is where I want you to measure 10 1/8 inches. So here's my 10 inch, here's my 1/8 inch. We're going to go 10 1/8 inches. And, oh, you know what? We're going to do something different. I apologize. Because I want to keep some of the bigger pieces. So actually, oh gosh, I hope you didn't just do that. What we're going to do is we cut off the 2-inch strip at first. And now we're going to keep that same side. We're going to slide it over to 5 5/8. We're going to slide it over to 5 5/8. And that gives us the up and down, the length of our signature. So this. Okay, so this is 5 5/8 long. And we're going to cut. We're going to have this strip left over. So now we're going to take it, we're going to turn it 90 degrees. And now we're going to take it and we're going to cut it at 10 1/8 inches. So when it's folded in half, it'll be 5 1/16. Yeah, I'm kind of a math junkie. But so we get at 10 1/8, and we're going to slice it down. Now save your pieces. Save your pieces.
Save the liver.
Yeah, we want to save all of our pieces, because we love scraps. Don't throw your scraps away. So now you've got the piece. This is your signature cover. So you're going to fold it in half. All right, when we get that part, this is going to be the cover. And then this is your 12-inch. And where did my ruler? There's my ruler. Yep. And your 12-inch by 2-inch piece for the inside tab. So that's that piece. We're making progress, guys. This is the part that takes the longest. And once we get all these pieces cut, then it's the fun. Then we get to put it together. So the next piece we're going to use is the number 140007. And let me find my stack o stuff. 140007. And it is going to be the double-sided paper that has, it's like red and looks like little black snowflakes, and then it looks like a floral print on it. And from this, we're going to cut 4 pieces for the inside of the A9 envelope. So it's this little piece right here. Okay, the back of the front cover of the A2, then back, we would use the red side for that. We're going to use the floral side for this part of the envelope, and then we're going to use the floral part for, the red part for the inside of the front A2 envelope. All right, so those are the 4 pieces that we're going to cut. And from that, we have a 1-inch piece by 5 1/8 inch, and that's for the inside of the A9 envelope. We have the 5 1/8 inch wide. So if you cut it at 5 1/8 inches, a strip that's down, then you could pretty much get all of these pieces. So if you cut the 1-inch piece, and then you've got for the inside back cover that you use the red side, it's 5 5/8 by 4 1/4. 5 5/8 by 4 1/4. This piece will be 5 5/8 by 2 3/4. So there you go. That's how that piece lines up. And then this other is 5 5/8 by 1 3/8. So you've got your pieces that kind of line up like this. So those are your pieces from number 140007. And there we go. Just a few more, guys, and then we can start having fun. I was telling them, Dawn, that sometimes this is the hardest part. Is it takes me longer to cut what I need to cut because I'm taking my folder and I'm paper clipping things here, and do I like that, and do I like that, and it's just
I do that too.
So anyway, so the next one we're going to use is we're going to use the 140009, and this is going to be this piece here, the plaid of what I call the short back side, which is what I call this, because this is the back side, this is the front side of the envelope. So that's what I mean. So that side of it. So 140009. We're going to cut actually 3 pieces from this. I am so glad I put these little sticky notes on here. Oh my goodness.
You're very organized.
Well, okay, so what we're going to do first is, again, here's a 12-inch strip. I want you to cut first. I want you to cut a 12-inch strip long by 3 1/4 inch wide. This is what you're going to cut off first. You need to make anything that has a 12-inch length, typically cut that off first, because you don't want to start cutting these other pieces and then you're like, oh, I don't have one that's 12 inches long. So always cut that largest piece, that 12-inch piece first. This is going to be for the little bonus, this little pocket. Okay, that's this right here. All right, so 3 1/4 inches wide by 12 inches long. And then you're going to cut a piece, and we're going to use, like I said, the plaid side, that you're going to cut this 5 1/8 inches long, or excuse me, 8 5/8 inches long by 5 inches wide. And then you're going to cut 2 pieces that are 2 1/4 inches wide by 6 inches long. So you cut a 2 1/4 inch wide strip, and then you can just cut it in half because this is 12 inches. That's the length of the paper. And what that's going to be for is that's going to be for the flap for the envelope. Okay, so this is going to go on the front, this is going to go on the inside, and I'll show you how to make sure that that all works together. Okay, so that's what those two pieces are for. And I'm going to paper clip these together. All right, the next one is 140010. And this is going to be, oh, that's 140010. Hang on, hold on, 140010. It is the ledger, oh, that's why. 140010. This is your 4x4 cut aparts. And what we're going to do, there's really only going to be one of these that we're going to actually use to put on something. And what I want you to do is cut that top row off. And I believe it goes like this. I believe it's the red side, and then this one in the middle that says Joy to the World, and then this one on the side. These are the only four, or maybe it's, anyway, these are the four. This is the only one that we're going to actually use the front for, because what we're going to do is, oh, actually, this is the one we're going to use as the pocket for the signature, so we'll leave that. This is the one that we're going to actually use this side and make the gussets for this out of.
They need you to hold it in the center.
Oh, okay, thank you. So this is the back side.
Like right here.
I'm sorry. I am sorry, guys. So that's what we're going to use. We're not going to use this side. We're going to use the green side. These are the gussets on here. And then in the middle, again, oh gosh, there's tags in here, is what we're going to make this pocket from, is we're going to cut the middle from there. So that's what we're using the 4x4s from. So cut that strip apart, cut this piece out of the center. And what I've done is I have the finished piece needs to be 3 1/4 inches across by 3 inches down. So I just kind of took my ruler and kind of centered it up. So I know, and it's like, oh, and that's why I like my clear rulers, so I kind of see. So what I did is I cut off, let's see here, I'm going to turn it upside down, almost 3/8 of an inch from the top. All right, and I want this to be a total of 3 inches vertical. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to line my top up with the 3-inch mark, and I'm going to cut off the bottom. And then I want it 3 1/4 inches wide. So I measured earlier, and I believe I need to cut 3/8 of an inch off on either side. So I'm just going to start, it's kind of a smaller cut, so I'm just going to bring this over, and let's see here, there's a 1/2 inch, so there would be 3/8 of an inch, and I'm going to cut that 3/8 of an inch off on that, and then I'm going to turn this around and do 3 1/4, and that should make 3/8 of an inch off of that side. So now you have a rectangle that's 3 inches wide and 3 3/4 inches across. And we will be scoring the edges to make a pocket. All right? The other ones you can just cut as 4x4. All right, so that is that piece. And the rest of those 4x4 cut aparts, you can set those aside, because at least in this project, those are extras for you to have, and you can use them for whatever you want, if you want to make extra things to put in pockets or that type of thing. Excuse me. The next pieces that we're going to use is, let me fold this up, is we are going to use the number 140011. So this is going to be the front. This is the directional wreath paper, and it's directional, so we're going to need to pay attention to how these wreaths go. If you don't care, then cut it however you want. when it came to the wreaths, I was picky about the direction that they went. So we're going to cut them directionally. So what I did is that it is also this pocket that we're going to make for the back. So I want you to cut the, I want you to cut it's 4.5 inches wide by 12 inches long. I want you to cut this piece because when we make this pocket, we will fold it like this, and this will be the front. Okay, so 4.5 inches across by 12 inches long. Go ahead and set that aside. And then flip your paper over and watch your direction for the inside of this A2 envelope. Okay? Notice sometimes paper doesn't print quite the same. Don't worry that it doesn't look exactly like this. It's okay. It's fine. No worries. That piece is 5 5/8 inches across by 2 3/4 inches in length. Okay? Set that aside. And then we need to have 2 pieces. One is for the back A2 envelope, the inside pocket. So the inside of the envelope, so this piece right here. Okay, and this needs to be 1 3/8 inches wide by 5 5/8 inches long. Oh, there we go. And then the other one is going to be a strip that is 1 inch wide by 5 5/8, and that is going to be this piece right here. All right. So get those cut. Clip those together, put them aside. I know, we're in the home stretch, guys. I promise. I promise. Okay. The next piece is the number 140013. Yep. You're going to cut a piece that is 5 5/8 inch wide. Cut that off. And then you're going to cut it 8 5/8 inches long. This is the inside back cover of the folio. So that is this piece that's hiding underneath there. All right. And then from the same piece, you're going to cut a tag. And this is going to be the big tag for the back. So it's going to be 9 inches long and 4 inches wide. That's this guy right here. All right. So go ahead and get those cut. And that's 13. And then we have 2 more pieces from the card. Now these are going to be cut from the clear cardstock, the solid cardstocks. The one, and these are going to be the tags. These are going to be the 2 big tags that are going to the back of the A9 envelope. Okay? And so what we're going to do is from 14007. This is the one that has the darker green and the red. Okay? We're going to cut a tag, a piece that's 5 5/8 inches wide, and then you'll cut it, 5 5/8 inches wide by 7 1/8 inch long, and set that aside. The rest of this cardstock, the red side is going to be used for this piece, the stitched slots. And the dark green, we cut some of the Christmas trees out of.
The stitch slots were in their kits.
Oh, okay, so that's already done. So that's perfect. Thank you, Dawn. And then I believe the dark green is what I used to cut out the trees.
And there's a tree.
And there's a tree in there. Okay, perfect. But that's the one that I used for those. And then I want to cut another one of the same, which is the lighter green. You can kind of see the difference, the darker green and the lighter green. It's very subtle, but there is one. And another one that is actually the same size, the 5 5/8 inches across and 7 1/8 inch long. And again, the rest you have to use for tabs, for other tags, for picture mounts, extra fun. Okay, so we have one more little piece. Do they have this?
They have a big piece.
A big piece of vellum. Okay, I want you to take your piece of vellum. And what we need is we need to cut a piece that's 3 7/8 inches wide. So if it's an 8.5 by 11 piece,
It's 2.5 inches wide.
wide. Oh, okay.
By 8.5.
By 8.5. So go ahead and cut that 2.5 inch wide strip down. So you've got a piece that's 2.5 inches wide by 3 7/8. And what that is going to be for is that is going to be for the pocket that is on the back. Huh. I must have measured wrong. 7 and 5. Oh, goodness gracious sakes alive.
Did you wrap it around? or
No, I
you
didn't.
just-
I didn't. Anyway, so this is what's called creativeness. Because I'm going to do a little measure, and this is 3. Well, that's 4 inches wide. That's 3. Oh, well, it's because I didn't cut it.
Your measurements, right? You
I
just didn't cut
I didn't cut. This is one of those things that I was going to show you. Evidently, just so it's 3. So it's 2.5 inches wide. Remove my little sticky by 3 7/8, and you probably can't see my little 7/8 hinge down here. And we're just going to do a little slice and a dice it. Now, don't throw this away. We're going to make a banner out of that. And your other little pieces as well. So this is going to go, I always, again, clip it. I'm going to clip it onto here because this is where this is going to go. And I put that there. So now you've got some strips and you've got some things. So there are a couple other little punch things that we're going to do, but we're not going, that you're going to need to save your scraps for. And your circle punches, and we'll get to that once we get to those particular pieces. So now that we have everything cut, and we take a deep breath, and we take a drink of water, because I have a tendency to really talk. Excuse me. Now we're going to start with the folio construction. Okay, so now I can take my cutter and retire him for just a moment. We can put him down to the side. So, what we're going to do first, and you do have the directions. Now, if you want to kind of work ahead, that's entirely up to you. I'm going to be giving you some little, different ideas on some different things, so I'm going to leave that up to your discretion. There's a magnet there. I forgot there was a magnet. They're like, what is happening? So that type of thing. So we're going to go ahead and start. So we've already folded our file folder. You can see that we've distressed it just a little bit around the edge. And so what we're going to do first, I move all my pieces out of the way. I'm trying to keep all my craziness in order, which is kind of ridiculous for me. If you knew me, you would laugh. Just work with me, people. I'm just saying. Okay, so what we're going to work with first, okay, this is the signature piece. I want you to get out this piece that we cut that's the 2 inches wide by 12. All right, it's the piece, this is going to be our signature cover. We can put that aside. And we're going to work with the piece that's 2 inches by 12. Goodness gracious sakes. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue this onto the inside of our folder. Now you're going to go, okay, now wait a minute. This is going to show. Why, yes. Yes, it will. But no, it won't. Because what we're going to do is we're going to just barely scooch, scooch, about a 1/16 of an inch maybe. We're going to scooch this down And the reason I wanted it 2 inches wide is because it could have been an inch, but I didn't want this black showing down here. I wanted it all covered. So we're going to scooch this down. We're going to take our pencil, and it hangs over. That's okay. I'm going to flip this over. Okay. And we're going to take our pencil, and we're going to mark. And we're going to draw. And we're going to draw on the back side, the white side. And we're going to literally draw the outline of your piece. And then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut it out on the inside, what I call the inside of the line. So instead of cutting on the line, let me grab my awl. Instead of cutting on the line right there, we're going to cut just to the inside of the line. All right, because we traced the perimeter of the file folder. If we cut on the inside of the line, by the time we center it up, you're going to have that little 1/16 of an inch edge. Okay, so, and these, by the way, this is what I use to protect my awl. These are knitting needle pieces that you can get. Just somebody's going to ask, and that's what they are. That's how I protect that, because you know I'll be piercing something that shouldn't be pierced if I did that. So I'm going to take my scissors. For this side, I'm just going to take my littler scissors and just on the inside. And we're just going to cut. I feel like, oh, for those of you in Iowa, in central Iowa, you will understand my reference. I feel like Betty Lou in The House with the Magic Window right now. She was a child, a TV show that I grew up watching, and she always had crafts. So, and I'm going to take my bigger scissors, and I'm just going to cut on the inside of that pencil mark. And don't worry if you go outside the line. Don't, if it's not absolutely straight, don't worry. Yes, Cindy's going to keep that. And then I'll use my other scissors. And again, inside the line. And inside the line. And down. This I won't keep. I know. It's sacrilege, but okay. So what we're going to do, now that we have that particular piece that is cut, is we're going to take, and yes, I will ink it. So here's my, again, gathered twigs, and I'm going to ink my edges. And I usually tell people, oh, just ink the edges that you know are going to show. Oh, there's a little corner that I don't want. I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, that's good. Again, just have fun with it. Just have fun. Now remember, it's the green side that's going to show on the inside of your folder. So I'm not going to ink the long 12-inch edge because you're not going to see it. It's going to be hiding inside. It's going to be hiding underneath here, so you're not going to see it, so I don't waste the time. So this is going to go in here, and I dry fit, what I call dry fit everything. Like, oh, you know what? I need to trim off just a little bit more because it's not giving me the exact, it's giving me a close representation of what I want. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut some more. And I'm going to freehand it. Again, it's okay. Freehand it. Have fun. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. The same thing here. I'm going to cut this down just a little more. And you notice I'm not marking it. I'm just cutting it. And actually, I should have probably dry fit this before I inked it, but that's okay. No big deal. And let's see, how are we doing? That's still a little piece there that I just want to trim down just ever so much. this edge just a little bit more. This is a process. We're having fun, we're crafting, we're not worried about anything. Okay, that's good enough for me. Good enough for me. So let me re-ink those places that I cut. And I use, this is my old Ink Essentials. This is my old inker from way back in the day. I am a Tim Holtz fan. I have been since the day I think he came out with Vintage Photo that first time. And I have been a junkie ever since. So I have all my ink. I have a round one, but all my ink pads are like this, and actually they're marked. This one says Twig on it with black, and this. But if it's the black Velcro, I use a white pen. But that's how I keep track of my pads, and I just keep them in a Ziploc bag. Okay, so here we go. This is on here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my liquid glue, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to glue this strip into the inside back cover. So again, here's your folder. This is the way this is the front. This is the inside of the folder. This is where this is going, green side up. Okay, and I'm just going to put some glue on here. Whatever your favorite liquid glue is, that's what you want to use. And you know what? It doesn't really matter. We're going to put this in here and center it on. I use liquid glue, and I also use score tape. But for some of the things, I definitely want the liquid glue for it because it gives me a little bit of playtime, more so than the score tape does. And I can scooch it. That's a technical phrase, scooch it. Okay, that's going to be good enough. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to press. And I've got a little paper towel. If some of the glue has pressed out, I'm just going to wipe it off, and I'm going to really burnish that glue in and really get it on there. Okay. And so really get that in there. So bone folder, not just for folding paper and cardstock. If you don't have a bone folder, that's okay. Actually, before I bought my bone folder, I used, one of those pan scrapers that you get that you can buy, that you can scrape pans with. That's what I used. That was my bone folder because I could use the edge. And sometimes I'll use the edge of my bone folder, and that's done. So that's that. Now what we'll do is we are going to the front and back covers. Now, again, remember I told you now your inside, now your folder on the inside looks like this. Isn't that pretty? That's just pretty. I'm just saying. Okay. Oh, I forgot to ink, because I do ink insides of this as well. So don't mind me. I'm an inking fool, and that's just kind of what I do. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this again. Remember, we haven't folded this. So we're going to fold this again. Remember I told you we'll be creasing. We'll be always creasing, creasing, and creasing. Okay. Now, if you see a little buckle here, and I don't know if you can see a little bit of buckle here, you can just kind of go in and just smooth it down. And sometimes I will actually take the folder, open it up, and take the edge of my bone folder and just kind of smooth it out. Not a step you have to do. It's only something that if you choose to do it, and that's fine. So what we're going to do now, we're going to put the covers on. We're not going to do all the decorating. We're just going to go ahead and go ahead and just get the rough covers done. Okay, so we've got front cover, back cover. Okay, so, And then we need, where is my front cover strip? It's this one. So you will need, for your covers, you're going to need the front cover, which is the 8 3/4 long by 5 5/8. You're also going to need the plaid, the black plaid strip that's 1 inch wide by 5 5/8. And then you're going to need the back cover that's 8 7/8 by 5 5/8. And that's going to go on the back. Okay? So what we're going to do is, let me just see the front. See, I have to keep looking. I have to keep looking at my directions. So we're gonna put, this is gonna be a little bit kind of like we did this piece, where we're gonna measure it out and then we're gonna cut it, because I like it to match. And that's just me. That's just my thing. Some people want it to stick out. That's okay too. It's not a problem. So what we're going to do is, I know which way it needs to be. I'm going to leave myself a little bit. And actually, I'm not even going to draw it. I think I might just freehand this. Yeah, be brave. Freehand it. It's okay. Freehand it. It's not a problem. Just make sure you give yourself enough room. About an 1/8 inch, 1/16 of an inch, a little bit, give or take. And let's see, be brave. This, you have to, if you knew me, it's like, oh my gosh. I am a perfectionist, although I do love folk art, but it's, being brave, it is also for Cindy. Be brave. And just cut it. Yeah, it's not bad. All right. And if it's not quite what you want, that's okay. Ink and edges, stickers, die cuts, all sorts of things. So there's that edge. And then we've got to come down and do a little swoop on this edge as well. So we're going to kind of come down and do this. Again, I just freehanded it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm kind of proud of myself. Usually I stress over it and then I have to remember, this is fun, crafting is fun. Okay, and I'm going to take my little sticky note off and I'm going to ink the edges that you'll see. Okay, and yes, I will just, pardon me, leave the lid off of my ink when I'm crafting. I've not ever had a problem with it drying out. So, but you're not going to see this piece down here, so I'm not going to ink that. I'm going to dry fit it one more time, and then we're going to take some glue, and we're going to glue it down. We're going to glue this piece down first, and then this piece is going to lay over the top. So, and I use a liquid glue that is a little bit like art glitter glue. However, I find for me, although I do have to remember that I need to cap the top each time because it will dry out on you. But I find I can use it more on vellum and other pieces that, and it doesn't pucker. And it doesn't pucker. And I can, we're gonna put that on there, and then we're gonna burnish those edges again. Take the paper towel and get rid of that. And also, you don't have to worry about if you order it from Memory Bound. I believe they are going to start stocking it once it comes back into production. They're out of production now for a little bit, but it is something that can be shipped all year round, where art glitter glue can only be shipped certain times of the year. I guess that's what I'm told. But okay, so there's the first piece. Now we're going to put the second piece on top. Again, we're going to cover. I'm going to ink my edges first. I'm going to ink all 4 edges. I try to get the corners so it looks a little You know how old paper kind of, the corners have a tendency to have a little more age on them, shall we say, than the sides. So, you know, whatever makes you happy. Okay, so that piece, I'm going to glue this down, and I'm going to try to, as best I can, line it up. I don't know if you can see up here with the edges of that black plaid. All right, so they're the same. So we're going to take the glue again. And I just, on larger pieces like this, I just kind of do half. I'm not, as you can see, I'm not real careful. I mean, as one of the people that I watch on YouTube, she likes to say she doesn't drive her glue straight. Yep, that's me. I do not drive my glue straight. Now this is going to give us a little bit of play time, and we're going to put that on here. Make sure you've got your edges lined up. Make sure you've got enough at the bottom. I'm going to scooch it over because I don't have it lined up on the side. And the glue's going to dry clear. Just kind of keep wiggling. There we go. And I just kind of smush it down. Again, now I'm going to burnish the glue and burnish those edges and get that glue to adhere the back of this paper and the file and then the file folder. Okay. All right. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now we're going to do the back cover. Oh, it's coming along. All right. So we've got the back cover. And I'm going to burnish, or excuse me, I'm going to ink those edges as well. And you can kind of see my gathered twigs, what it looks like against that white of those beautiful Christmas flowers. I really just I fell in love with this collection when I saw it come out, and I asked Dawn, I said, can I do this? And she's like, absolutely. I'm like, yay. I said, can we get black file folders? And she says, absolutely. I went, yay. So I was so excited. So here's the back cover again. We've got a little, and I should have dry fit that for, got a little spot. Again, you can leave it, you can leave it squared off if you want. I'm going to cut a little swoop, a little doop-de-doop. Yeah, it's kind of a, sorry about that, guys. Yep. See, I cut a little bit too much off. Not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it. It's not that big a deal. And re-ink and glue, just like that. And we'll have the actual papers then on the front of the cover. And I'll try to get this more in frame for you all. I apologize that it's been a little out of frame. I'm left-handed, and so I have a tendency to kind of lean towards the left so I can get things lined up. And as you can see, yep, that looks good. At least it looks good enough for me. Okay, so I've got that, and we're going to burnish the edges, and now we've got the front cover on, and now we've got the back cover on, and now we have the inside tab cover on. Now you notice I haven't glued this down yet, and it's easier to put some things on here than it is to when it's open still. we will close this down. We will close both sides down, and we'll put adhesive on either side of the inside fold here. Let me scoot this over here. But we're not going to do it quite yet, okay? Because but we will. It is just easier to work with it this way. So this is now the inside. Now the next piece we're going to take is we are going to take my inside front cover mat. This wood grain piece that's on the back side of all these lovely little chalkboard pieces that will make great cut aparts for you. And we're going to put this on the inside. Again, here's a little swoop. All right. And I'm glad I looked at that, because I'm gonna need to cut just a little hair off. Again, be brave. It's all right. You don't have to measure it. On that top corner, I'm just going to cut just a little swoop off. All right. So let's see. Let's see how it looks. Yep, not bad. Okay. So we're going to dry fit this. Now, when we start putting pieces and gluing pieces to the inside, okay, hold on. That was just, I need to take just a little more rounding of this corner off. That was just a snippet. Okay. So when we start gluing, and I've got to ink because I got to ink. That's my gig. The bottom isn't going to show. The bottom is going to be behind the envelope. So the bottom is going to sit like that, and then the small front A2 envelope is going to sit above. So you don't need to ink that. All right. But as we're working on the inside pockets and things of this folio, do not butt your pieces up so they are right up next to this fold, because it will just get way too bulky, and it's just not a good situation. Leave yourself a good, 1/8 inch or so. All right. So actually, we're gonna glue this down, and then we are going to, I think then we're gonna go ahead and close this up. Yes. I was trying to think ahead. So, but yes, don't leave yourself a good 1/8 of an inch there. So let me just, give or take 1/8 of an inch. And it's hard to see with the black folder and my black lines, but the 1/8 inch is about right there. Leave yourself a good 1/8 inch of an inch, and do not butt up against this fold. So we're going to do that, and we're going to glue it down. Woo. Oops. Sorry. I feel like I'm just totally getting out of frame all the time for you guys, and I apologize. I'll try to be more conscious and bring it back in. Okay. And there's that. There's that. There's a little bit away from there. There we go. And we're going to burnish the edges. There's my bone folder. Yeah, you should see me crafting at home. I got things everywhere. I'm like, I'll be looking for my bone folder, and I'll have covered it over with a piece of something else, and I'm a mess. I'm, just saying. But I enjoy the process. Like Tim likes to say, Tim Holtz, enjoy the journey. Yeah, well, this is my journey. We're enjoying the process. Just have a good time with it. Okay, so now we've got the inside front cover done. All right, so what we're going to do now, I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think. I craft out of order a lot of times, guys, because Okay, that's going on there, and that's going on there. Okay. I talked to myself again. Sorry. All right. So we're just going to leave this. We're just going to leave this open for now. All right. We're just going to leave that open for now. So we've inked all the edges. We've trimmed the upper left-hand corner, followed the folder shape, and glued this down. So we're going to put the file folder to the side. And what I want you to do is get out your envelopes. This is going to be the next thing that we're going to focus on, is the envelopes. All right? So we're going to put our file folder aside. And the first one we're going to work with is what's called an A9. An A9 size envelope is about 5 3/4 inch wide by 7 3/4 inch long. That that will be got something on my ruler. Sorry guys, I was distracted there. I had a squirrel moment. Sorry. So this is the one we're going to work with. This is an A9. So if you're looking at things and people call for an A9 envelope, this is what you're looking for. The other two envelopes are what we call A2s. And if you're a card maker, or if you've ever made cards, this is the size envelope that if you took an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and cut it in half and then fold it in quarters, that's what would fit in an A2 envelope. So two fairly readily available, and I know here at Memory Bound they have the black, they have it in white, I think they have some craft, so they have envelopes in all sorts of bunches of colors. So we're going to work with the A9 envelope first. All right, so it's going to actually go in, and I'll kind of dry fit this whole thing for you so you can see how it's going to go together before we start gluing things. Okay, so what we're going to need is we are going to need this piece, which is what I call the front. All right, this is the A9 front, and we're going to use the red side. So this is going to go on here. I'm gonna use some paper clips so you see. So this is going to go on. This is a lot of times what I do. So this is what's going to go on here, and then on the back side, or what I call the short back side of the cover. I'm losing some pieces here. Is this plaid piece is what's going to go on this side of the envelope. All right, so here's my paper clip. So here would be the front, here would be the back. All right, and then then for this piece in here, that is going to be, I'm looking, I'm trying to find my pieces. Cindy, where'd you put that? Oh, here it is. Goodness sakes. I didn't have the floral piece sitting up. So this is the 1 inch by 8 inch, excuse me, 1 inch by 8 5/8 inch piece. And this is going to be slipped. This is going to go inside the envelope. So here's the fold of your envelope. And it's going to be put in, see, I dry fit everything. And it's going to be put in there. All right, with a little bit showing, a little bit of the black of the envelope showing. All right. Then we've got an A2. This is the A2 envelope. The front is going to be this piece, the red side. Oh, I put the wrong side in here. This is the floral side. Put that. like, wait a minute, I had to, it's like, no, there was too much red, so I needed to put, so this floral piece is what's going to go in here. All right. And now the front, the A2 envelope, your flap is going to be off to the right. So there's this piece that's going to go here. Again, little dry fit, little piece there. Actually, I'll put it on this side. Then it's going to open up. And then we're going to use, again, the floral side, the same piece that we used. This is the same piece as here, but we're going to use the opposite side, and it's going to go here. And then inside here is going to be that extra piece of black plaid that is the 1 3/8 by 5 3/8. Do you see now why I put little Post-it notes on everything? And you're going to see it doesn't go all the way down. You're going to see just a little bit of the black right there. So that's where that's going to go. And the reason why I'm showing you all this is so you can see this is the inside back cover of the folio, right? And what we're going to do once we get everything made is these are going to attach to the back side of this inside cover, and then this will go into the back side of your folio. So it actually, we're going to glue the envelopes to the back side of the inside back cover, and then the whole thing will get glued down at one point. All right. So let's go ahead and get while we're in the process here, because and then we also have to make this envelope too. This envelope will get tucked in the top of this. It'll get tucked into here. So we'll have this, the A2 tucked in on this side, the A9 tucked in on this side. It's going to cover it up, and then that top flip will get tucked in here, and then this whole piece will get glued down to the inside front cover. It sounds really complicated, but trust me, it's much easier than trying to do, piecemeal it together. So, whoops. Now what we're going to do, so we'll take the A9. I'm gonna unpaper clip all of my pieces, right? Unpaper clip them. Now I'm going to ink edges. All right. And I'm not rounding. I am not using my corner rounder yet. I'm not rounding any edges right now. All right. Oops. Sorry, I was out of screen. I'm just inking edges, guys. That's what if I go out of screen, that's what I'm doing. I'm just inking my edges. Okay. And I'm going to do the same here. I know that's the floral side I want, but I'll just leave this pop here. And let's get this. And we'll get the plaid. And once we get all of these glued down, we can set the A9 envelope aside and put together the covers for the A2. And one thing I do like, there are times where I will take and I will try to figure out, okay, how do I cover this little piece here and this little piece here? And sometimes I worry about it, and sometimes I don't. I don't worry about it on this one. So, so what we're going to do, actually the first piece I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in this, this little inside envelope piece. And I found when you're tucking things in and gluing things into the inside of an envelope like this, sometimes it's easier. And I look to see, okay, well, which side do I want to show? Actually, I kind of like this one. I leave about 1/4 of an inch that does not have any glue on it. And that's the piece that you're slipping in to the envelope. So you're not dragging. It's easier to get in. It doesn't try to grab. And that's the piece that you're putting in the inside. And eventually, when you burnish out your glue, you're going to, it'll seep into that negative space. Okay. And if you get glue in here, don't worry about it. It's fine. And because you'll watch me and you'll be like, oh God, she's dragging glue everywhere. See, there's glue on the lid, on the flap already. Don't worry about it. What I want to make sure of is that I've got my 1/16 of an inch or 1/18 of an inch gap. And the liquid glue, if I was using score tape, I could not be scooching this like I am. It would just grab and I'd be done for. Okay, I'm just going to wipe that glue up. And I'm going to burnish the edges. I'm going to hold up the flap of the envelope and just kind of get in there. Another reason I like to leave that little extra piece that doesn't have any glue on when you're going inside of an envelope, you don't want the glue to seep out here and then your envelope is stuck shut. Your envelope is stuck shut. Did I just say envelope? Sorry, envelope is stuck shut. So I always make sure, I always have a paper towel or a rag or something, and I just make sure that there isn't any glue there. So there's this. Now we're going to take the plaid, and which way do I want? Do I want it like that? Do I want to flip it around? I like it like that. And we're going to glue this down. I love these projects. I made one of these, and you might have seen if you are a frequent watcher of the Memory Bound lives that they have. Dawn and Kelly and everybody, they were so gracious, allowed me to come in. I brought one of these that I did with the Simple Stories Lemon Twist this summer. Once you get the basics down, using any collection, and this is just one collection pack, and you will see that I did not use everything. And you get a collection, a paper pack, and then you can make them for any occasion or anything. So put this down and burnish it. And tidy up my glue. It's like a craft along with Cindy day. My husband is like, have fun, honey. I said, I will. Okay, so there's the inside of that envelope. Now we're going to turn it over, and we're going to work on the front. We're going to put the snowflakes on the front. So if we were going to use the trees, you definitely have to make sure you were watching direction, but we're using the snowflakes. So we're going to put the glue on the tree side. And as you can see, I'm quite messy when it comes to my glue. You know, I am just, my grandkids love to craft with me because Grandma is not exactly the tidiest. I have a tendency to want to be, but when it comes to crafting, I just kind of go for it. And then we're going to put this along the front side of the envelope, giving us a little bit of space, 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. You know, don't measure, just kind of eyeball it. Well, I mean, I suppose if you want to measure, go for it. I don't measure, not when it comes to putting stuff like this down. And we'll just burnish the edges here, just like this. Now you're going to laugh at me. Yes, I am going to ink the edges of my envelope. Yeah, I do, just because I do. And I like the way, even though it's subtle, I like the way it looks. I'm going to do both sides. And even though there's something on it, I'm going to ink the edges anyway, because that's how I roll. Again, don't worry about the flap, because that's going to get glued down. Now when it comes to this, sometimes I just put a little ink on it, especially if they're like lighter colored envelopes. I will, and I'll do it typically first if they're lighter colored, but the black ones you can just do. So there's the A9 envelope. This is pretty much done. We're going to set this aside and we're going to go to the A2. So here's the back of the A2 that we're going to put on the inside back cover. Now again, I love using my paper clips to kind of show me what I'm doing where. All right. Pardon me. This one I actually am going to, we're going to take off. There we go. I'm going to put the inside, the black plaid, inside first. Now you can see that it didn't go all the way down, that there is already a gap, and that's fine. Pardon me. I'm going to just burnish this down and kind of get rid of that raised cut edge. I will ink all four sides of this one because you'll actually see it. And this, it would be more noticeable if you were using a lighter side, because you would see, and there's a bit of a contrast there, so you would see both sides of it. So you'd want to have, if you were inking, you would want to have both sides inked. Excuse me. So we're going to ink all four sides, and then we're going to glue this down to the inside of that A2 envelope. This plaid is not directional, so you don't have to worry about making sure, you know, which way is up, shall we say. And I'm just going to open this up and slide this in. Again, don't worry about the glue, but you do need to make sure that you get that away from the fold. Okay, so again, I just kind of hold it up a little bit, so I don't want any glue seeping into my envelope. Now my bone folder has a side that's kind of pointy. I don't actually use the point. I use kind of the side of it to burnish down very gently, so I don't poke through the end of the side of the envelope, and just burnish that in. All right, so that's done. So your envelope is going to be flap in, okay? Flap in, so that's the front. So the flap is going to be to your left, and the fold is going to be to your right. I just can't figure out what is on here. Okay, now, before I go any farther, yes, I am going to ink the edges of my envelope right now. And I will open this up. I will try to put a little ink on these inside flaps, like that, and on the inside flap here. It's all good. And you'll notice this kind of flips up right here. I'm going to put a little glue on that edge so it actually stays stuck down. Don't get it on the inside of your envelope, just on the inside little flap here. So what I'll do is I'll just take my glue and I'll just kind of hold this up and put a little line of glue here and smush it down. And I'll do the same thing on this side. And I don't know, but it's kind of hard for you to see these black envelopes. Let me see if I can put it down. and kind of show you. So there's just a little bit of, just a little bit. And if it seeps out, that's what your paper towel is for. And remember, glue dries clear. Okay, so so we've got that, and let that time for that glue to click. We're going to ink because the red side is the side that's going to go on the front of this A2 envelope. All right, so it's going to go up. Remember, the flap, fold of the flap is on the right-hand side. So if you open it up, the flap then is on the left. All right, and we're going to glue it down. And I'm going to try to center it, leaving 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch, you know, a little bit around the outsides. And just get that glue really pushed into the fibers of both the paper and the envelope, so it really sticks. All right, we've got that done. And now we're going to put this piece on the back side of this envelope as well. So we're going to ink and ink. Now I'm not cutting any thumb holes, you'll see right now, for my envelopes. I also find working with the A2, any envelope that has more of a straight cut across here as opposed to the V cut, shall we say, is easier to work with. But either way, you can make either work. It's like, don't not do something, don't not try something because, oh, the envelope doesn't look exactly right. It'll be fine. Okay, I'm just looking here, and we're going to glue this down. Sorry, I keep reaching across the front of the lens. I apologize if it blocks people. And take that and burnish. Really get that in there. Really get that in there. Okay. Okay, so now your A2 envelope is done. Put my little paper clips off to the side because I will probably be using them once again. All right, so the A2 is done, the A9 is done. So now, and there's my back cover. So here's my back cover. Here's my A9 envelope that's done. Here's my A2 envelope that's done. I'm going to put these together off to the side, and then I'm going to, now we're going to take, now this is a little, what do I want to call this? This is the little, oh, the back inside cover. I'm reading my instructions, guys, because when I start crafting, I just start going, and so I've lost my place because I just do. Inside. We're gonna jump. We're gonna jump right now. We just finished with. If you're looking at your instructions, we just finished with number 5. Nope. We're gonna go ahead. We're not gonna jump. We're gonna keep it in order because this one This is the A2 envelope that we're going to work on now for the front cover. And it has the magnet on it. And we're going to work, and I'm going to show you some easy ways to work with, how do I put this magnet on this and cover it up, etc. So let me get my inside front cover pieces. So there is the inside front cover. These are the flaps for my inside, for this. We don't have to worry about covering the back because this is going to be the inside pocket and nobody's going to see it. So we don't have to worry about that. But those are these. And there's that. And one more piece. So for the inside front cover, you should have the piece that's the wreath. That's 5 5/8 inches wide by 2 3/4 inch long. Okay, that's going to go here. All right. Again, paper clips, dry fit them. That's where this is going to go. This red piece is going to go inside of your envelope, just like we did before. And then these two pieces are going to be your cover. And we're going to trace these out and we're going to make these fit perfectly. And you're like, really? I'm going, yeah. And I'm going to show you how. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to take care of doing the flaps and things first. We're going to come back and do this. Probably, this is going to be, you know what? Actually, we can go ahead and ink this and get this in here. Okay, because we have to work in a certain order when it comes to working with a magnet so that they're covered. Okay, we're going to ink all 4 sides of the red because the red is what's going to show on the inside of your envelope. Okay. So I'll put a little glue on this. Okay. Cap my glue again. All 4 sides. So because you're going to see it. You just slide that in. Don't worry that you see the glue. Glue dries clear. It's fine. This is another reason why I don't like to use score tape on these, because it doesn't give me the wiggle room that I need. And we're going to burnish that in again. Make sure you don't get any glue that's going to close your envelope up. And this is definitely one that I want to ink. I want to ink everything beforehand. So I'm going to ink my envelope because you are going to see this flap. So, because this is going to be the side that you see. This is not, so I'm not worried about what's going here. I'm worried about this. So we're going to ink that. We're going to see this side. That's how I look at it. What are you going to see? Those are the sides that I want to ink. And get that all done. And one more little place. And you're going to go, oh my gosh, yeah, I did. I got ink there. Whatever. It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
That's no biggie.
It's hasn't been the first time, not going to be the last. I'm going to do the same thing that I did on that front, on that other envelope, where I'm just going to put just a little bit of glue underneath here and glue this down on both sides. Just a smidge. A smidge, technical term, you're free to use it anytime you like.
All right, I'm going to have to ask, how much longer are you going to go the full 3 hours? And why I'm asking is because battery might be getting low.
Oh, hey.
And so otherwise we might just have you talk louder and I'm going to undo the microphone.
Oh,
How would that be?
that would probably be good.
right, let's do that.
I can project, and Dawn, if you, I'm sure, and I know you will, be watching comments, guys. If you can't hear me and I need to talk louder, please put the comment in. Hey, Cindy, talk louder.
All right, you
Usually-
start talking louder.
Usually, I've not ever been accused of talking softly, so yeah, there's that. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to need, for the flap, what we're going to do is to make it fit perfectly. We're going to figure out about how far. Okay, so here's our fold. So I want this to be, and I'm gonna let it hang over. I want it to hang over because I want to be able to trace it on both sides. And when I'm doing flaps like this, there's very, very few times that I actually take my pencil and trace. So this is what I'm gonna do. I don't think I will. So I'm gonna put it right there, and I'm gonna take the flap, and I'm gonna gently fold this over, so it's gonna stay. And
We really
there is
we did
something
a whammy on you and gave you some glittery.
yeah, okay, that's I'm working with it. Okay, so maybe instead of laying it flat, I'm gonna hold it up, and that might be easier for y'all to see. So we're gonna do this, and then I'm gonna fold it, and I'm gonna flip it over, and now I'm gonna take my pencil, and I'm gonna draw, and I'm gonna trace the outline of that flap. All right. So we've done this. We're going to take our scissors. Again, we're going to cut on the inside of that.
Your voice.
Oh, thank you. We're going to cut on the inside of that trace line. And just like that. And one more. All right. There we go. So we've got the first flap cut for our envelope. Now, what I want to do is before we cut the other one, okay, see how it is, for me, there's not enough space there. There's not enough showing. So I'm just going to trim it down just a little bit more, just a hair on either side, just to give me a little bit more of the envelope that shows. And I like that. Okay, you have to remember, your magnet is going to go underneath this flap, this flap, and you want to make sure that the paper covers your magnet and it adheres down here. So I like this. I may have a little more space up here, but I like this. Okay, so what we're going to do, because the inside piece is going to be a mirror image of the outside piece, I'm going to take it and I'm just going to this is the time where I'm going to actually trace it. And this is really helpful that this is on, there's a lighter color on one side. It makes it so much easier. And I'm actually going to trace this. And if you get pencil mark on your flap, it's pencil. That's why I use pencil. You can erase it. Not a big deal. Okay? So this time you're actually going to cut on the drawn line because you've traced it. You've traced the piece that you already like. So we're going to take it. We're going to cut on the drawn line, on the line that you drew, that's traced. And see if I can get this one in one fell swoop. Perfect. Well, perfect for me, not perfect. Okay, so now you've got, this is the front, and this is the back, and they are mirror images of each other. Okay?
Yeah, talk
you've
louder.
got, okay, I'm really talking, okay, I'm supposed to talk louder. Gotcha. All right, so we've got this front, and we've got the back. All right, so there's our front and back. Front. I'm gonna, since this is the side that's gonna get glued down, I just drew, what I did is I just wrote a B, so I know that that's the back. That's the inside flap. I didn't want to write on the other one. So we're gonna ink this. And once we get this piece in,
They cannot hear you.
they can't hear me at
No,
all.
so you're gonna have to talk really loud. Sorry.
Okay, well I don't want to interrupt business.
Oh,
But-
you're just fine.
Okay, all right, they can't hear me at all. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna ink these edges first. And again, remember your flaps are mirror images of each other. So the black is going to go on the inside. We traced, oh, I'm sorry, the black goes on the outside. Goodness gracious sakes. Black goes on the outside. The plaid goes on the inside. They're mirror images of each other. So we're good. All right? And then what we're going to do, we're going to glue down the plaid that is on the inside. Okay? We're going to glue this one down first because the magnet is actually going to go on this side. All right? So we're going to glue this one down. Because of the bulk of the magnet, sometimes gluing the flat pieces down first is helpful. So let's glue this inside flap down. Again, it's going to be the plaid that you want showing. Okay. So there we go. Inside flap glued. There we go. All right. Let's burnish that glue in. Get those fibers to accept the glue. And now we're going to go to the front. So my trick when it comes to working with magnets is score tape. I love me some score tape. That anybody at Memory Bound knows this. I buy this stuff all the time. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to work with 1/2 inch score tape. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what you have. 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's probably what I'll use. Nope, sorry, 3/8 of an inch. Sorry, 3/8 of an inch is what I grabbed. So what we're going to do, because it's this is a little tricky. Where's my magnet? Your magnets do come with an adhesive dot on it, and you have a plus and a minus. Now, if you adhere one down, I dry fit my magnets 2, 3, 4 times before I actually adhere them down. Magnets are one of those things that I gotta make it just so it's perfect. All right, so you want to leave, if you can, at least 1/8 of an inch. Now, you can find your placement here, dry fit your piece of cardstock, or excuse me, of pattern paper over the top. You're going to see it's going to lift a little bit, but it's the nature of the beast because we have to be able to, we have to be able to put it down here. So we've got a little bit of room here. So actually I can scoot this back a little bit. This is why I dry fit pieces. So I can scoot things around farther back if I need to. Okay, let me go here. And let me see. Whoops. Let me see, how does that look? Yeah, this is going to be a good placement. And I'm kind of going back and forth, and I'm trying to see if I'm going to have enough room here. You know, oh, that's not going to be enough. I'm going to need to scoot this down just a hair. Just a little bit, and I keep them side by side. And go. I think that's gonna work. Let me just sometimes with this black on black, it's hard for me to see where my actual end of my envelope is. So I just put one of my sticky notes in. Oh yeah, that'll do. That will do. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a piece of score tape along the back of this. Oops. Oh, I just moved things around. Okay. See, this is real life crafting, guys. This is real life crafting. Careful with your score tape so it doesn't. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna remove that because I don't want it to accidentally get put somewhere and not have where I need it to be. Because once that score tape, if you've ever worked with score tape, once that score tape goes down, that's it. Now, sometimes you'll see me, and I will be putting glue on top of the score tape, which does give you just a little bit of time, a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, just a little bit more, scooch it down. I know I take a lot of time with my magnets, guys, and I apologize, but I do it because I need to make sure that it's not going to lift away. Okay, so I like that placement. So I'm going to, and you could use double stick tape as well. Actually, I've taken that off. I'm taking the actual double stick off. I'm going to put that score tape on the back side. Oh, come on, Cindy. I moved it again. Okay, good enough for small town. All right, I put that on the back side. Now I'm going to lift that. And there is my piece that's on the bottom. Okay, I'm gonna scooch that up. And then I'm going to take the other side and I'm going to put that down. I removed the adhesive. Doesn't matter which side you use the plus, which side you use the minus. It doesn't matter. Their opposites are going to attract. But now it's going to close. All right, so I've got the magnet on the front flap, the magnet underneath on the back flap, and so now we can glue this piece onto here and this piece onto here. All right, so let's go ahead and take the plunge. When I'm working with magnets, I'll actually open them up, the flaps like this. And we've already inked this, so let's put this one down. Right. Now we are going to try to get as far as we can with putting this together today. And so we can do a little decorating, and I can show you some little extra fun things next week when we come back together on making your own ephemera and the paper clips and that type of thing. So this is what I'm going to do. So now we've got the magnet under the front flap, and it's hiding. And we're burnishing. And okay, you can see where that edge of that is. I'm just gently taking the edge of my bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, just take the edge of I think take the edge of a very gently, the edge of a pair of, or the edge of your ruler, and just make sure that that's really sticking. So that's that side. And now,
Shut your microphone off and turn it back on again.
okay, hang on, guys. Little. Are we good? All right. Well, let's see. So I'll go ahead and remove. I'll go ahead and remove this, and maybe. And I forgot to do this with the other piece, the other magnet. So if you don't remember to do it, that's fine. But sometimes I'll just take and put a little glue around the outside of my magnet and then over the top. Remember, this is directional. Make sure you've got the right side up, as my grandma used to say. Oh, and make sure we ink it. Make sure we ink it. Again, real life crafting, guys. Real life crafting. Okay. And gluing this. All right. We are almost done with the magnet. But this kind of technique of putting the magnet down is just one that I've seen a bunch of different people on different YouTube channels that use this kind of technique where you measure it and dry fit the magnets and make sure that they fit and use the score tape. And I find there are so many really great YouTube videos out there, crafters that paper crafters that have such great ideas. And this folio is from one of those people. I saw this and went, oh, I love this idea. I've made one of these, the Christmas one. I've made one, like I said, out of the lemon twist. I've made one out of the Tim Holtz memoranda. Yeah. So now your envelope is secured, or excuse me, your magnet is secured. There's your flap. There it is. It's done. Piece of cake. As the kids like to say, easy peasy mac and cheesy. So that is the inside front cover. So what you would see on the actually on the folio, you'll see that I put this actually isn't obviously covering the magnet. The magnet is underneath the black. This was just another little extra piece that I put on top that because I liked it. So, it's just one of those things. So now we've got the magnet on the A2 envelope for the front. Now we're going to grab, glue. I'm reading instructions, guys, because I'm just crafting, and glue, and okay. All right. So now what I want to do is we're going to adhere this to the inside front cover. So I'm going to put my 3/8 inch score tape away because we don't need it. I just used it for the magnet. The rest of this project we're going to use 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch score tape. I am. You can also glue if you'd like, but I like to use score tape on a lot of edgy kinds of projects, especially with pockets, because if you use glue, the glue as you press it down seeps, so it would spread, so it's going to seep out either way. If you use score tape, it's just going to be there and it gives you more pocket space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1/8 inch score tape along the short sides. So you've got the black side. Here's your magnet. Got your black side, the black side of the envelope that we have done nothing with. I'm going to put 1/8 inch score tape. Excuse me, along the two short sides, and I'm going to put 1/4 inch score tape along the bottom. And I do lift I do lift the corners so I can get my score tape all the way to the edges. And if the score tape kind of goes over your edge, that's okay. Just roll it up. No big deal. And pull this over. And if you're good, you can tear it. I typically do tear my score tape. I don't necessarily cut it unless it's at a strange angle. And then again, I'm going to use my bone folder and really burnish that score tape in so it holds. I'm going to pull the backing strips off. I don't worry about picking it up. I usually typically don't have trouble picking up the edges of my score tape. Sometimes if you do, if you just take a straight pin and grab it. But you're going to want to line up the edge of your envelope to the edge of your backing piece here, and about 1/4 inch from the bottom. 1/4 inch. No, Cindy. About 1/8 inch from the bottom. 1/8 to 1/16. And it should line up so it's almost flush with the outside edge of your folder. Now notice again, we haven't glued this down yet. Okay? And this is another reason. So I can get in here and make sure, because again, when you use score tape, this stuff is going to grab, and it's going to grab like right now. So again, you don't want it to be, you don't want it to, leave it about 1/8 inch away, and almost flush with the bottom, and stick it down just like that. Just like that. Okay? There's the front pocket. Got it done, right? So we've got the front pocket done with the magnet. Now we're going to go back to the back side. All right? And what we're going to do, excuse me, I'm going to grab a drink of water here. Thanks. I needed that. What we're going to do is now we're going to make this what I call the back cover. Let me see how I worded it. The inside back cover small envelope. And you're going to take your 4.5 inch wide piece by 12 inch piece of wreath cardstock. All right? And for this, I'm going to move this out of the way. I need my scoreboard. I need my scoreboard, and I'm going to need my trimmer, and another little gadget that I use, but I'm going to show you if you don't happen to have this little gadget, what you can use. So, pardon me. So, I'm going to get my scoreboard out, and what I'm going to do, this is the front side. This is going to be the top. Let me pull the folio out so you can see, so you can orient yourself. This is going to be this piece right here. All right? This is going to fold up, and then this is going to fold back and go underneath. All right? So that's what that's going to have. That's what that's going to be. All right? So, yeah. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the wreath piece and go ahead and when I use my scoreboard, I actually score on both sides of the pattern paper or the cardstock, especially if it's thicker. So it breaks down the fibers and folds easier without as much cracking or cracking at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on your scoreboard, and I'm going to, let's see if I can angle this in here. I've had this scoreboard for forever. It's got glue all over it. I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to score 1/4 of an inch on what I call on the both of the long sides. So I'm going to score. I usually do a couple times, and then I flip it over so it's the same. So it's kind of the same side. I'm going to score it again, flip it again, and then flip it back, and do that. And then I'm going to flip it around and do the other long side. Yeah, I could have gone over here, but again, I'm left-handed, so it's easier for me to keep this snug over here as opposed to kind of going over and crossing my hands and scoring. So I'm going to score 1/4 of an inch on the other long side. And we're going to do this. And then we're going to score. Again, we're going to take the long side and put it across the top of the scoreboard. And now, again, watch where your top is. Okay, this is your top. So I want you to, okay, see, I have to look at this. I have to, because remember, this is my top. So I have to take the, okay. This end is the piece that's going to go fold underneath. So I need to, on this short end, this is the top. So on the other end of your piece, I want you to score 1/2 inch along that edge. Yeah, this is why it takes me so long to craft, because I'm a sewer and I'm a quilter, and I come from a line of carpenters. So the whole measure twice, cut once thing has saved me numerous times. Okay, so, and then on the other end, I have to see where I'm at. We're going to measure. Hold on. Oh, my ruler's even made for left-handed people or right-handed people. I always have to turn it upside down. I'm sorry. Okay, so from the top edge, remember this is the top. We're going to put the top alongside, and we're going to measure 5 1/4 inches down from what I call the top edge. So 5 1/4 inches down. So we're going to measure that and cut, or excuse me, not cut, score. And I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to flip it over one time. Okay, so once we got this done, we can put the scoreboard away from now. So what you've got 1/4 inch scores on both long edges. You've got a score 5 1/4 inches from the top edge, and you've got a score 1/2 inch from the bottom edge. All right. So now comes some fun and some bravery. Be brave, because you're going to go, oh, I don't want to cut this. It's going to be fine. Trust me. Just really trust me. It'll be fine. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is where my, oh, there it is. This is where my cutter comes in. Okay, because your piece at the top, this piece is what's going to show. You're going to fold it up on this 5 1/4 inch spot, and then this piece is going to fold back, and this is what's going to tuck underneath, and this is what's going to be glued down. All right. These 1/4 inch pieces, what we need to do, and this is where bravery comes in, guys, is this piece, this 1/4 inch along the sides, we need to stop at this 5 1/4 inch spot. So go ahead, and it may be easier if you just go ahead and fold that up, that 1/4 inch, that at that 5 1/4 inch place, and just go ahead and take your scoring tool and just fold that. So you know that's folded up. All right? So what we're going to do, down to that fold, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and this is where I'm going to show you a little tool. This is actually an envelope maker, and I've used it. I don't make envelopes. I use it for these kinds of library pockets. So I will take it, and it actually lines up almost perfectly to the end. It's like a 5 1/4 inches, and I will take it and I will punch that, and you've got a notch that looks like that. So you either use the little envelope punch,
Which we do have.
which Memory Bound does have. It's great. Again, 5 1/4 inches is exactly where that is. It's perfect. And that'll give you this. Or if not, fold it, clip. It's that easy. So,
And Tina would like to know what YouTube video you got your idea from.
the lady's name, it's Scrapbooking with Me, M-E, and her name is Edith. I'm trying to think what her last name is. Oh, I can't remember what her last name is. Edith Ray. Anyway, so it's Scrapbooking with Me, and her first name is Edith. And she did one of these, and I was like, oh,
I need to make that.
I need to make at least more than one of these. So now what we're going to do, thank you for the question. If anybody else has any questions as we're doing this, let me know. Also, her daughter, Melina, has a scrapbook, or excuse me, a paper crafting YouTube channel as well. And she's got some really great ideas. And that's actually who I got the other bonus project that we're going to make with the expandable sides is actually from her daughter, Melina. So now what we're going to do, now what makes this easy is we're going to cut 1/4 inch off. Remember we scored that long edge? We scored that long edge. But we're going to cut the 1/4 inch off of the, quote, back side. These sides we're going to fold in and tape. This is the side we're going to cut off. So I'm going to, my rotary cutter, my paper trimmer has a little wire piece on it that I can line up, and I can see where 1/4 inch is. So I'm going to cut off, and I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right here. I don't want to cut this off. I'm going to stop in that little gap. That's why I clip this first, so I don't get into this other piece. So now you've got this little piece. Yes, I'm throwing it away. I know, but I'm throwing it away. And then we're going to turn it around, and we're going to do it the other side. And I'm going to, actually, sometimes it's easier if I just, yeah, we'll just do it this way. You want to start your score. And again, you don't want to go up into the top, and that's going to clip out. So now you've got this piece that looks like this. You've got your top, you've got your sides, you've got your back flap. So now what we're going to take, this, you're going to take the 1/4 inch sides, and we're going to fold them in. And take your bone folder and fold them down. And we're going to do it to the other side. Okay. Now, one of the things that we're going to do now is we are going to put a thumb pull in this. And I use my 1 inch circle. I use different circle cuts, but I'll use my 1 inch punch this time. Sometimes I use a 1 1/2, sometimes I use a 2, sometimes I use my 3/4, whatever you have. And I'm going to take this because this is the top, right? I'm going to put a thumb hole punch here. I'm just going to line up the top. I don't measure, I just eyeball it. I kind of look at it and go, yeah, that kind of looks like it's in the middle. Looks like it's about even on both sides. That's the depth that I want, and I punch. Just like that. That's all it is. Now, what I'm going to do, of course, again, because it's easier to ink the edges before you glue everything down. Okay, especially the backs. And the sides that are going to show. Remember, we talked about the sides that are going to show. All right. And I'll do this. And we'll do this. And I'll probably come back through after we're actually done and do some more. So now we've got this piece that looks like this. So we're going to put 1/8 inch score tape along the edge. And I try to get as close to the folded edge as I can. Now that usually means that there's going to be, because there's a little bit of, there's an angle there, so you're going to have a little bit of the score tape adhesive that's going to hang over. And when we pull the backing paper off, we'll just kind of fold that over on itself. Kind of like when, at least when I was a kid, and you made tape circles. So instead of double-sided tape, you didn't have double-sided tape, so you did tape circles. And we're going to do that. And see, this one has a little bit of overhang. I'm just going to take my finger and just smooth it down. So then now, what you're going to do is you're going to take this, and you're going to kind of fold those pieces in, and you're going to line up, because now this folded line is going to be the same as this cut line. And you're going to fold it in, and you're going to line up one side, you're going to line up the other side, be brave, and adhere it down. Just like that. Okay? And now you've got your pocket. So, now we're going to adhere the piece of vellum. Remember, you cut a piece of vellum that was 3 7/8 by 2.5 inches wide? And it's going to go on the front. Okay, it's going to go on the front. And I've got just a little piece that is perfect. Okay. Again, I'm going to put a thumb pull in it. I'm going to take that and I'm going to punch that vellum thumb pull out. I don't know if you can see that. Yes, I ink my vellum. It's okay. It's okay if you don't. And then, here's a trick. If you're using, and I use liquid glue on my vellum, and I like, what I want you to do is rough up your edge. Take the back side of your piece of vellum and take your thumbnail and just, because some vellum has a finish on it and it doesn't adhere, it doesn't pull, let the glue pull. Okay? So, and then we're going to take and the back side, and we're going to put just a little line of glue along the side. This is why I like to put the thumb pull in first, so this way I know where the top is. So I don't put glue there. And you say, why do you do that? Well, experience, because I have put glue on all 4 sides before. Just saying. All right, now we're just going to line up the sides. And another little thing too, when you're using vellum pockets, if you just take, while the glue is drying, and just kind of scooch it in just a little bit. You don't want to do a lot, so you don't want to see a lot of it. But if you just kind of mush it in, do you see how it's kind of puckering? Just a little bit, and you just take your fingers and kind of scooch it in, and now your pocket is on. Now, you can always bring that. You could cut this, instead of cutting it 3 7/8, you could cut it 4 inches across if you wanted to. I just cut it 3 7/8 just to give myself a little bit of room. So now you've got this pocket. And I press down this piece here, and of course I need to ink the top, and I'll go around and ink all the edges. Kind of like brings them together. If you didn't quite see, I didn't quite get that match up perfectly. I'm just going to ink the edges. I'm just going to do that. Some people will actually round these corners here as well. If you like to do that, go ahead. That's awesome. Go ahead and do that. So now it's time to actually put the back inside cover pieces together. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. And I will tell you right now, it is infinitely easier to do it the way I'm showing you than to try to piece things in one at a time. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put this in. We're going to actually put this on the inside back cover of the folio, and then we're going to glue the pieces together. All right? So what we're going to do is, because this flips, remember, we put it in, it's like this, and it's like this, and it's like this. All right? And that's what's going to go on the back cover. We're going to glue all this down, but we're going to do it in steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to take I'm reading the see, I have to read my directions just like everybody else. Again, I just want to make sure I didn't give you. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to glue the A9 envelope to the back, to the, actually, first thing, remember, ink edges, ink edges. Because what we're gonna try to, if we can get this all put together, then next week your papers are going to be dry. We're going to, talk about putting the signature together, and I'm going to teach you how to sew the signature in, and then we can start decorating. So that'll be big fun. Okay, so we're going to dry fit this, and we're going to put this in here. And this looks good. This looks good. I like the way this looks. I'm going to leave this on the back so I can put the glue on my flat. So I'm going to put it on the flat. Just like this. And glue that over. Again, don't worry if the glue seeps onto this, because you're going to glue this back page down anyway. So we've got the A9 envelope on the inside back cover. Be careful, go in here and make sure you mop up any glue that might stick, because you don't want this to stick to that. Okay, now we are going to take the I have to read my directions. Guys, really? Okay, what's next? Okay, we're going to take this little envelope that we've made. We've made this one. And we're going to put it about 3/4 of an inch from the inside, the left edge, okay? About 3/4 of an inch in. I think that's what I put down on the instruction. You can eyeball it. This is not rocket science, guys. It's just fun. So go ahead. Yeah, that looks about right. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this up. We're going to open that flap, and we're going to take some glue, and we're going to put the glue on the flap of this. And one thing I forgot to do before I put the glue on is I want to just cut those corners at an angle, just a hair. Sometimes it keeps it from peeking out and showing. And if you forget, and like glued down. I'm going to glue on the flap. And looks like, and there is the inside piece. We'll get this piece put down. So now we've got, okay, I'm going to open it up. Here's our pieces. Make sure there's not any glue. So now we've got your inside back cover. So what we're going to do now, it's so much easier to do it this way, guys, than it is to try to put things on and go, ah! Now all you have to do is take this and glue it down to this. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that done, and then we're going to glue this piece together, and we'll call it Saturday. All right? And then I'll kind of go over what we're going to do next week.
We only have about 5 minutes left on the battery.
Oh, okay. Well, then you know what? This won't take long. We're going to, and you will see that this kind of sticks up our corners, from our corners. Fine. I'm not trimming them. I don't trim them. So we're going to glue this down. Glue, 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 glue. You could also, if you were brave, and I'm not that brave, you could put score tape on the back of this. Yeah, I'm not that brave. Oh, well, see, this is what happens. Don't worry. This is where Cindy stands up, and I make sure that it's centered where I want, to the edge, to the bottom. Make sure I've got enough gap here, because remember, we're going to sew a signature in here too, and that should just fit right to the outside of the edge of the folder, and it does. Press it down. Here's why we're not gluing this together until we've got everything on. So you can open it up and make sure that that glue is really adhered to the back side. All right? That's why I keep this until last. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, now we're going to close this up. We're going to close this up. We can flip this, we can do that, whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1/4" score tape and put it, and I put the score tape on the piece that's going to be folded down, because if you score tape too far up, you're going to get tape up where you don't need it. This is the piece that's going to be attached to this piece, so I'm putting score tape along here, up to the fold on one side. I'm going to put score tape on that same piece. I'm not worried about getting all the way up. If you want to, that's fine. So that's 1/4". And then I'm going to take my 1/8". Okay, you've got this fold. I'm going to put 1/8" score tape on either side of the fold.
And while Cindy's doing that, I'm going to say thank you very much, Cindy, for teaching this class. Phase Part 2 is next week, next Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon. The battery's about dead, so just know that if we do sign off, you won't miss a thing. That she will pick up next Saturday right where she leaves off.
Actually, this is all I'm doing. This is what we're doing, and this is 1/8" score tape on either side of the fold. All I'm going to do is pull this off. Now, if this was, you could glue this too if you wanted, but remember, the glue seeps, and so you're going to lose pocket space. That's why I like to use score tape on my pocket. I'm going to take this, flip it up, do this on both sides. Again, remember I told you, fold it over. Okay, you're going to go, oh, yeah. It's going to do that because we're putting so much, excuse me, on the inside. And it's going to do even more once we get the signature in. Eventually, I mean, you can see, and we can talk about, you can tie this down or whatever, but for right now, ladies and gentlemen,
It's so pretty.
here we go. Whoops, my microphone fell off. And here's what we've done today. Now you can see there's a little bit hanging over. I'm not worried about that. I'm okay with it.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's beautiful.
It's fine. So here's what we've done. Magnet pocket, we've A9 pocket, A2 pocket, flap. We've adhered that. Now we've got a pocket in the front. We've got a pocket in the back. And next week we'll start with the signature. We'll have your papers. We'll cut those down. Your dyed papers. Remember to kind of flip them as you're working, as they're drying. Don't worry. Don't try to do it too soon, otherwise you'll rip them. Just let them dry on their own. Trust me, been there, done that. So anyway, and then we'll just hopefully we'll have enough time next week that we'll play. We'll make some ephemera. We'll make some extra little pocket things. Make some paper clips and all sorts. So.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Cindy. It's an awesome class. It was wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
everybody, for watching. And we'll be Memory Bound Live. We'll be back Monday at 9:30. But Cindy will be back next Saturday to finish her folio. And there's still 1 or 2 kits left if you want to join in on the fun and purchase a kit. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye.